For the fourth time this year, the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates again, leading some to fear a recession is imminent. News 12's Jordan Simmels spoke with financial experts today on what this all means for your wallet. He joins us now live in the studio with tonight's top local story. Jordan.
Good evening, Emily. Thank you. According to CBS News, today's increase brings the federal funds rate to between 2.25% and 2.50%. With inflation still on the rise, the new numbers are a far cry from the 0.25 rate Americans saw at the beginning of the year. The Federal Reserve raised interest rates by 3/4 of a percentage on Wednesday in an attempt to cool down still rampant inflation. Chris-Hopkins of Chattanooga's Apogee Wealth Partners says the drastic measures are due to the drastic rise in prices.
And the lesson we learned in the 80s is that has to be attacked aggressively. And this inflation got pretty bad pretty quickly. So the Fed has been much more aggressive. And effectively, the idea of raising interest rates incrementally is to dampen overall demand. In other words, to slow down the economy.
Hopkins says the rate hike is well above an average one. At the federal level, he says there's a high probability Americans will see a second straight quarterly decline in the country's economic outputs and GDP.
Now, that doesn't necessarily define a recession, but it's more evidence that may be on the cusp of one or heading into one. So that's the big debate. Are we going to have a recession? Likely.
John-vandergriff of Blue Ridge Wealth Planners knows just hearing the word recession mentally sends residents back to 2008. However, he says the current economy's state is much different than it was 14 years ago.
Consumer spending is at a really good rate right now. We also are at near record low unemployment, and we're seeing hourly wages still increasing. And so you don't see those things happen whenever you have a true recession. What we're in right now is a forced recession because we delayed the action to fight against the inflation that we're in right now.
The newly raised interest rates match what the country's numbers were back in summer of 2019 before the pandemic began. For those concerned about a recession, Hopkins says to maintain a balance in both spending and investments. For those currently investing, Vandergriff says to not get scared and pull out of the markets, as the times have shown staying in is most effective. Live from the studio, Jordan Simmel, News 12 Now.